we have studied about the Python numbers data type and string data types in details. Now in this series, we are going to start working with Python list. A list in Python is used to store the sequence of various types of data. That is, Python lists are heterogeneous collection of data elements. Here this word that is heterogeneous means different sort of data. I suppose you may have studied about, if you have studied about C, C++, and Java, you may be familiar with the concept of array. So array was homogeneous storage of data elements, but in list, here it is heterogeneous. That is, a list can have the collection of different types of value. At one time, if you want to store bundle of values inside a single variable, either they are number, either they are string, either they are float values, you can store them inside the list. And Python lists are mutable in nature. That is, they are changeable in nature. That implies that we can modify its element after it has been formed. The elements can be further inserted, further elements can be updated, or you can delete anything from the list once you have created. The syntax for writing or syntax for using list is a square bracket. You need to enclose each and everything inside the square brackets. That means you are using list. Also, Python has 6 data types that make whole sequence, but list is one of the most popular independent form. Python lists are identical to the dynamically scaled array. That is, as you may have been familiar with the indexing that we do also use here also. So let's discuss it practically. For example, let's clear it. For example, you have a variable name as name. One is roll number. Another one is marks. This is 78.6. Roll number is 102 and name is Python. So for storing the details of a single student, you need to create 3 different variables. And each variable has its own memory space. So it's going to take, depending upon the nature of the data type of the variable, these 3 variables are going to take different memories. But you want to store the detail of a single student inside a single bundle, inside a single name, inside a single variable, then we have a best concept in Python, that is list. Right? So using list, first of all, we need to choose a variable name. Let's suppose I'm taking the variable name as my detail. Then you need to start the square brackets. Then you can specify your data, and data can be of heterogeneous type. Python, that means string, 102, that is integer, and 78.6, that is float. So now all these details are stored inside a single variable, that is my detail. If you are going to print the entire variable name, that is my detail, so your entire detail is going to print this entire detail. And if you want to access a particular thing, that is, suppose you want to print only 102, then you can use indexing concept as we have studied in Python strings data type, right? Let's perform practically. So let's choose a variable name as my detail, right? The square bracket means it is a list. You always, if you want to store anything inside a list, you need to start it. And then you need to enclose your data in square brackets. Python 8967.4, right? And for example, as of now, this is the data print, and I want to print the details. Let's run it. So here we can see our output has been printed, right? You can have any number of values. For example, my data is 10, 45, 34, 12, and again, I have used 10 here. So talking about how you can access this data, let's create a memory space. This is 10, 45, 34, 12, and 10. This is going to be presented 0th index, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, right? So basically, if you are talking or if you are worried about how this 10 can be present 2 times, so list can have duplication. List can contain duplicate values, but these both values of 10 are at different indexes. So here duplication is allowed. Okay. So to print the values, we can use the concept of indexing here as we have studied in strings part. So here indexing, print my detail 0. So 10 is going to be print. Similarly, if you have mentioned my detail -1, so this last value f10 is going to print. Let's run this. Right. So here we have our output section. Now, similarly, if you want to print your data from 45 to 12 only, that is from first index to third index, so we can use the concept of slicing here. So how I can perform? Print L, 45 is present at first index and 12 is present at third index, but we need to specify one extra index. So basically, this first is for starting index and 4 is for ending index, and you need to separate them using this colon. This part is inclusive in nature and this part is exclusive in nature. So you need to pass one extra index, right? Let's run this again. Okay. My variable name is my detail. Let's run this. So now you can see we have our output as 45, 34, and 12. So this is about indexing and slicing, how you can perform, how you can access your single values, and how you can access the values present inside a range. Now, if you want to print your data, that is 10, then 34, and then this 10. Then we can use the concept of first index, last index, and then we can specify the number of difference values, as in like you need to print my detail, and then you need to pass your first index, that is 10. 10 is present at 0th index. Then you need to specify the last index that you are looking for. The last index is my 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So either I can specify 5 here, or if you don't know the last index, you can use concept of length. Length, that is the total length of my detail. Total length of my detail is how many total values are there? There are total 5 elements inside my detail. So total length is going to be 5, but my last index is 4. So I need to specify -1. So my first index is 0 and my last index is length of my detail, that is 5 -1, that is 4. So my last index is 4. And after that, how many number of difference values do I want? Like after 10, next value is 45. 10 is present at first and 45 is present at 10 is present at 0th index and 45 is present at first index. So initially they have the difference of 1. But I want to access 10, then 34. So 10 is present at 0 and 34 is present at 2. So initially they will be having the number of difference of 2. So you can specify 2 right there. Right? So let's run this part, run Python file, and let's check our output in the terminal section. So now we can see 10 and 34 are there. Right? Because I have specified -4 as my last index. So here last 10 is not there. If you all want to access this last 10, you can remove this -1 and let's again run this file. So now our output is 10, 34, 10. I hope it's clear. So this is how you can access a single value group of values. Now, as mentioned, that Python lists are mutable in nature. So being mutable is for the insertion of the values, deletion of the values, and updation of the values is present inside the list. And the number of operations that do exist on list. Operations on list. So duplicacy is allowed here. Right? So first, let's see how we can update the content. So I would like to comment this section as we have discussed about it. Let's comment this. So updation, write down it comment part so that it may be easier for you to understand updation in list. To update the content inside the list, we have the syntaxes. First of all, you need to write your variable name, that is my detail. Then you need to specify the index number, then equal to value. Suppose at 0th index I have 10, but I want to update this value with 100. So what I'm going to do, my detail, index should be 0 and value should be 100. I'm saying that I want to update the value present at 0th index with the value 100, right? Let's practically perform this section. My detail, 0th index equal to 100. As I have said, this is mutable. So entire operation is going to affect your original list. So if you are going to print my detail, you will have an idea that your original list has been changed now, right? You can see here also, wait, I'll write print my detail here also, so that you can have a brief, you can have a more clarity as Python works on interpreter. So over this line number 2, it's going to give you the output as this part. And after updation, it's going to give you the output as first index would be replaced by 100. Let's see. Yeah. Here you can see this is before updation and this is after updation. For more clarity, let's write before updation. Right? And like, let's write here after updation. So before updation, it's 10, and after updation, it's 100. So this is how you can update your values inside a list.